Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is October the 22nd, 2025. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Hopefully you had a good hump day. Hopefully you humped. You didn't get humped. Unless it's what you're into, by all means, go for it. Have at it. But no, my day was good. It was solid. I appreciate the day that was, put before me. But no, we got up. We got to work. No problems. I will say this is one of those random times where I will say, wow, people be driving. People do be driving their cars in very fun and interesting ways. And I'm not one to talk shit. I would consider myself a C-rate driver. I'm not very great. I deserve to be here with these yahoos in Ohio. But man, they were on one today. I saw someone almost just... We were all parked at a red light, and they just randomly it's time for me to go, and they were just gonna go into traffic, and I was like, what is happening? And they luckily they realized, well, wait a second, and they snapped out, but that was a little scary to see. And it was just other various hijinks, but I mean that happens to everyone, right? In your daily commute, doesn't matter whether you're here, or I don't know, somewhere in Connecticut. That'd be really cool if you're listening from Connecticut. Hi. No, I don't know, but work was solid. Not too much work. I will say we were having this annoying issue where they kept dropping skids. And what I mean by that is not actually literally dropping skids. That would be scary and bad if that happened. OSHA would probably be getting involved. But they were sending down skids when we were sending them up empty cardboard buggies. I was sending them up empty cardboard buggies all day. So I'm so used to how they operate upstairs. One, because I used to work up there, and two, just because I know them. I know how they operate. We do this every year. It's a song and dance that we always do. And they literally switch into this hoarding mentality after the first big problem that happens around peak. And they start doing things like saying, oh, just go ahead and hold on to buggies. Don't send them down. Actually send them down some skids just in case things get crazy. We never know. We never know what's going to happen tomorrow. They move like that. But they don't understand that jams up the whole process, and now you have me doing skids and buggies. But I also know that they've come down and berated me for doing skids when there's buggies to do. So I hate when they try to put me in the situation. It becomes very annoying. To a certain extent, I will just focus on what I know I need to do, and then I'll shrug and just be like, oh, I have to do these skids. You're forcing me to do it. You're not giving me a choice. So yeah, that was a bit annoying, but overall it wasn't busy. So great. We love that. I really do think this holiday thing has just put everything in a bit of a weird flux. I was talking with maintenance. We're kind of like, are we busy? Is it as busy as it's been? Seems not as, and we don't know. We're all shrugging and thinking about it. Is Fortnite dead? That's that kind of conversation. But, we get through the day. Work wasn't too bad. It was fine. We got through that. We got over it. There was a bit of, a detour though. My coworker, because of the holiday, their ride wasn't coming to work, and they were like, "Oh, can I get a ride?" And we had discussed this yesterday. I said, "Okay, that's fine." So we take the detour. We drop them off. I wind up saying, "Well, I'm going on, past my house. I might as well make a stop." So I make my little stop, and at that point, I kind of realized, oh, if we're doing this for the rest of the week, because I'm not sure yet, I'll find out tomorrow. Then I'm just gonna do reduced workout. So I was just like, okay. We hung out at the house for maybe 30 minutes. Went to the gym, and I did about an hour. It was unfortunate because fortunate and unfortunate, I should say, because I get to the gym and it's Wednesday and I'm like, Jesus, golly, busy. Everyone is just out trying to get a pump. And I'm like, I wish you guys would just go away. Get out of here, skedaddle. No, I mean, it's fine. I just did a bit of a, since I was already on a reduced workout anyway, I did a bunch of free weights. I gotta mention this though. I gotta say this. And I'm not mad at this guy. I just feel like the whole thing was just too fucking icks that I have. There's two kind of boo, this. One, he's on a Smith machine, this guy. And instead of doing his squat that he set up for, he is over here shadow boxing. And I'm like, okay, you're getting pumped up. I totally get that. I'm totally down for a Viber. You're hitting your little rave. You're getting DDR, or you're doing your little like, okay, that's fine. But this motherfucker was on some other shit. He's fighting goddamn 6 of his 7 demons over there. And I'm like, this is crazy, brother. Hit the squat. Do the work. Do the work. And I know it doesn't matter. I need to mind my own business. But once again, when you see it's this busy and I see everyone else doing what they're supposed to be fucking doing, or at least, resting in between a set or something, this guy is just punching at air. For what? You could do that anywhere. And then it clicks because as I'm doing my shit, and I see a whole group of people come and now they're congregate over at the Smith machine. He was holding the whole thing down, which leads me to my second fucking problem. It's like, man, come on, dude. Boo. That's lame. Now you've got a whole crew of motherfuckers. You guys are never gonna leave this area. Like, and sure as shit, for that entire fucking hour that I was doing my shit around the whole gym, they didn't leave. They didn't move. And like, hey, more power to you. That's your priority. I mean, technically, you combine all the time. You guys can have it for eternity, I guess. Cool. Awesome. But I just don't like that shit, man. That's a party foul. And I mean, hey, it was booked either way. I'm not specifically, like, mad at the guy. I just thought it was a weird way to go about it. You know what I mean? Specifically with the shadow boxing. If he was working his ass off, just hitting set after set after set, okay, cool. If he was doing some, like, superset, he was supersetting with the shadows. I just, ick. Anyway, after that, I get my ass home, and, now we're here. I did my little research, and here we are. So, yeah, let's go ahead and do our startup, and let's get into some news. Let's talk about what's going on around the world. All around the world. Hey, now. I don't even know what that is. That just came to me. Sometimes I just get possessed by the spirit of music, just like I get possessed sometimes by the spirit of news. It's crazy. I didn't ask for this power, this curse, but it happens. Do 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 do. I do also want to note, for the record, it's Wednesday, no treat day. My job is a gulag. All right. Anyway, from the Associated Press, Trump levies new sanctions on Russian oil giants in a push on Putin to end Ukraine war. President Donald Trump's administration announced on Wednesday new massive sanctions against Russia's oil industry that are aimed at moving Russian President Vladimir Putin to the negotiating table and bringing an end to Moscow's brutal war on Ukraine. The sanctions against oil giants Rosneft and Lukoil followed months of calls from Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, as well as bipartisan pressure on Trump to hit Russia with harder sanctions on its oil industry, the economic engine that has allowed Russia to continue to execute the grinding conflict, even as it finds itself largely internationally isolated. Let's see here. What else did I want to pull? The announcement came after Russian drones and missiles blasted sites across Ukraine, killing at least 6 people, including a woman and her 2 young daughters. So yeah, these sanctions came and it felt like a good way to just kind of get back into the story. I haven't really talked about it a bit. Things have kind of matriculated since I last mentioned it, I think over the weekend. But I initially had said, hey, Trump and Putin are going to be meeting in Hungary to have some talks. That's been set up. We don't know when, but that's supposed to happen, I think, like top of November. Turns out they got on the phone, or really not them, but their counterparts, Rubio and Sergei Lavrov, they got on the phone. They really couldn't, find a reason, like essentially, hey, we're gonna get you to get somewhere where you actually like do like a ceasefire or something. Nah, we're not doing that. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. Well, and then they try to say, oh no, we have productive conversations. Everything's cool, but we just didn't see a reason to really go any further outside of that call. Everything got discussed, and then essentially, Trump's like, well, then yeah, I don't want to waste time, which makes sense because they literally rolled out the red carpet in Alaska, had this whole little fucking powwow, and then shit didn't change. The war just fucking continued. Essentially we're at the standpoint, and I feel like Trump's trying to do this, like, tough talk with the sanction stuff, which is very Biden-esque. I do love that. But then also he's talking to Zelensky saying, hey, you need to take a deal where you just kind of settle up along battle lines. Like, you're going to have to give up parts of the Donbass. And that's a non-negotiable. At least it's been discussed that way, through the media or whatever, that Ukraine's not going to do that. That they're not going to give that area up because it's too strategic of a point. And if you do, then it gives them more or less a gateway in the future to just hit Ukraine and, dig deeper into Ukraine, take more land. So they're like, no, we don't want to do that. We'd rather just keep fighting and just go it alone or go it with less, U.S. support. So that's kind of where things lay at this point. There's more details here, but I figured, hey, we at least covered, those things. So yeah, I feel good about that for where we're at. Obviously it's a bad scene. It's not fun, but so it goes. That's war. War never changes. Anyway, let's move on to our next story. I did not expect to be doing this many updates about us playing literal Battleship. Here we are, no Rihanna, but okay, CBS News. U.S. strikes 8th alleged drug vessel, this time on the Pacific side. The U.S. struck another alleged drug vessel Tuesday night, this time on the Pacific side of South America. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth confirmed Wednesday. Ooh, and I love this. I love whenever... I'm surprised, CBS News. Wow, the editor didn't stop that. It's the Department of War. It's the Secretary of War. Remember, guys? No, but I do because technically it is still the Department of Defense. It hasn't been changed by Congress, so until then, the secondary title is just what Trump wants to call it, what Pete wants to call it. But anyway, I like that. Anyway, in what is the 8th known U.S. attack on a boat since September 2nd, 2 individuals aboard the vessel were killed, Hegseth said. The other 7 strikes targeted vessels in the Caribbean. A defense official confirmed the vessel was in international waters off of Colombia. Hegseth wrote on social media that the Defense Department conducted the strike at President Trump's direction and alleged the vessel was operated by a designated terrorist organization and conducting narco trafficking in the Eastern Pacific. They don't provide evidence for this. They just say this. Also, I learned from this article, too, that apparently they said they have a list of all these narco traffickers, and that's how it's helping them. It's their Rubicon to just figure out who's who to blow the fuck up, which is seemingly everybody. And they're like, well, let us see it. The people they're telling us to, well, let us see it. And they're like, no, it's super secret. It's like, no, you guys are just playing carte blanche with the law and just blowing people up at will. And then when they live, you're just like, okay, so shit. Unless we can actually try you for something, we have to try you for something to keep you here because we have to process you. We can't just put a bullet in your head, I guess. Oh my God. So they send them back. Something I hadn't covered was that there was one person from Ecuador and one person from Colombia. And those are the 2 people who survived the last strike. Now, the person from Colombia, I believe people were saying was a fisherman, actually. But, of course, they're just saying, well, that doesn't matter. This is a criminal. I believe what Trump is saying. I believe what this administration is saying. These are all, narco-trafficking terrorists. They deserve to be this. They deserve to be killed. It's like, well, you turn that guy into, damn near vegetable, the guy from Colombia. So that's cool. Once again, you didn't have to do that. You could have gone through the whole due process is what you're supposed to do as a quote-unquote civilized society, first world country, nation, whatever the fuck. 2025, no, we're not doing that, apparently. It was boom, 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 boom. So, that is the state of play in the waters. This is the war on drugs as we know it right now. And I can't say that it's so different, but it's so face up. Just like with Obama and the global war on terror, I get it. He was trying to, he was not, there's no trying about it. He was doing that shit. He was blowing people up, sending drone strikes, doing that shit. Boom, 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 blast, blast, blast. But there was that veil of well, we're not going to talk about it. We're not going to preach about it. We're not going to put this on blast. I'm not going to tweet this shit. I'm not going to tweet about this stuff. But Trump is obviously different. He is going to be like, no, I'm telling you I'm doing this. You guys should be excited. You guys should be so hyped that I'm doing it. This should just be the legal standard. And literally it was like, people are like, no, man, this is bad. This is not okay. You shouldn't be doing this to people. But I mean, here we are. Who's stopping him? Yeah, at this point. So I mean, we'll see how this goes. But I get the feeling I'll be covering more of this in the future, unfortunately. All right, let's move on to our next story. From CNN. Plane makes emergency landing after pilots lose contact with flight attendants and hearing banging on cockpit door. An American Airlines flight operated by SkyWest Airlines made an emergency landing Monday night in Nebraska after the pilots could not reach the flight attendants and heard someone outside the cockpit door, according to the Federal Aviation Administration. Flight 6469 took off from Omaha's Eppley Airfield at 6:41 p.m. local time, headed to Los Angeles, but almost immediately turned around, landing just 18 minutes later, according to the tracking site FlightAware. They talk about the Groover family and their experience. I kind of just want to skip it. I mean, it's pretty intense. They hear the stewardess banging on the cockpit door, and they're like, okay, what's up? And I could definitely, if I was experiencing this, I'd be so confused. Like, something's obviously a problem. And, they're feeling the plane, making all these crazy kind of moves. It's like, uh-oh, like we're clearly turning around. What's going on? But let's see here. The Embracer ERJ-175 regional jet parked away from the terminal with 2 fire trucks surrounding it, a photo showed. After landing, it was determined there was a problem with the interphone system and the flight crew was knocking on the cockpit door, the FAA said in a statement. SkyWest confirmed a problem with the flight crew mic Tuesday, adding, "We apologize for the inconvenience." The flight finally took back off for Los Angeles nearly 5 hours late, according to FlightAware. The Groover family missed their connection to Japan and waited overnight in the airport for the next flight. Well, that's unfortunate. Womp womp. But yeah, I learned something here because I had to Google a little bit. Like, wait, is the flight door is the cockpit door locked? And for some reason, I just thought, no, like you should be able to get in or out. Like, what happens if there's a problem? And then I was like, oh, and immediately I went to 9/11. Like, you post 9/11, no, that shit needs to be like Fort Knox. Let that shit down. I think that just became the logic. I mean, that's what I got from Googling. So I was like, okay, that does make sense. So to have a flight crew mic issue, now you can't communicate outside. Like, that's a problem. I get that you have to go, okay, we got our about face here. This is an issue. So, I mean, good that we're not, covering any lives lost or anything like that. Also crazy, something like this is happening in the middle of a government shutdown. I don't want to do the Elon Musk mini such cases because I don't think that's, substantiated, but it's just a fear, right? Like, it's concerning. I feel like staff is strained to the max, and, there's a lot going on, but good that, in this situation, there was no big problem, no real issue, obviously, long delays, but, hey, crisis averted, I say. All right. We have one more story that I wanted to cover, and then I'll let you go. I did want to say a thing I missed about my personal news stuff, towards the end of the day, like the last hour, I will say I just didn't work. I literally sat my ass in maintenance because what wound up happening was some departments were busier, other departments were slower. So for me, it was slower, I noticed. And I was like, okay. And then in another department, it was also slow. I believe it was receiving. And they decide every once in a while, this is not the first time this has happened, but they will send a random person who I think is just someone that they don't need for the day. And they're like, oh, you come work over here. You work the crusher. And it's usually a person who is like, okay, so we're not speaking the same language and we're just kind of staring at each other, and they go, okay, what do you want me to do? And I just go, okay, you can just do this. All right. Because at the end of the day, I don't have any power. We're peers. I can't say, what are you doing? What's going on? But there's also no leads. There's just no quote unquote, there's no adults, right? And I'm not going to be that guy who goes and runs and tries to find someone and say, hey, come fix this problem. I want to work really hard. Like, no, man, I kind of have at least enough motion. At least I feel I do. I mean, knock on some wood about that. To just be like, you know what? This is my cue to sit the fuck down. Because, you want me to be the delineator because there's now like extra people. So essentially, this has happened today. And I already had the one person who is coming in now consistently to help me. So that makes 3 people working one trash compactor. And I literally, after like not even 5 minutes, I start reading the room and I'm like, okay, so wait, you guys actually are, you guys know each other. You guys are communicating. Awesome. This is great. You definitely know enough to work this crusher. I'm going to leave y'all to it. And I just walked off. Like that's the shit I'm on right now. I cannot be pressed. Like, okay, all right. So I wanted to get that in. Also, this is a bit of side news. There was an attempted shooting or potential shooting averted at the Atlanta airport. That was crazy. And then also there was an attempt thwarted, or at least someone was making threats against Hakeem Jeffries. So there you go. Bit of side news, assassination attempt edition, shooter edition. Anyway. See, that was a little bit of the spirit of the news, you know? I didn't have that queued up, but it just came out of me. Like, blah. Ooh. All right. Let's pop a squat and close this out. All right. From the Associated Press. This seat taken. Thieves busted for stealing over 1,000 restaurant chairs in Spain. All right. I wanted to go a little lighter for our last one. And this isn't, rare family or, rare royal jewels from the Louvre, but at the same time, this is important. Okay. This is a thing you should hear. Spanish police have busted a criminal group dedicated to stealing your seat, literally. Spain's national police said Wednesday that they had arrested 7 people suspected of stealing more than 1,100 chairs from outdoor seating areas at restaurants and bars in Madrid and another nearby municipality in just 2 months. I love this. This is literally a chair theft ring. The group of 6 men and a woman, hey, there you go, progressive, worked at night to pilfer the chairs from 18 different establishments in Madrid and Talavera de la Reina. Talavera de la Reina. I like saying that. A smaller city to the southwest of the capital. In August and September, the estimated impact of the stolen property was around 60,000 euros or $69,000. Nice, according to the police. The suspects who face charges of theft and The suspects who face charges of theft and belonging to a criminal organization resold the chairs in Spain, but also in Morocco and Romania. Morocco. In Spain, many restaurants and bars leave tables and chairs, which are usually made up of metal or hard plastic, outdoors during the night. The chairs will normally be kept in stacks and chained down. I mean, that's actually pretty normal. I feel like I was going to try to talk shit, but I'm like, no, we kind of pretty much do that in America. You know, put them upside down, put them on a table. You know, if it is an outdoor thing, you kind of just wrap it up, you know, lock it down. Yeah, it's not too crazy anyway. It's a lot of theft, okay? It's a lot of, and it's hard times. With inflation, even the chairs are important. I mean, that might be the next gold. Who fucking knows? But yeah, that's it. That's all I have for today. If you'd like to help out support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/Isaiah News. Become a newsie today. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube. Follow on TikTok. Follow on Spotify. Follow on Apple Podcasts, wherever you like to listen. Leave a like. leave a cool comment. Sharing's caring. 5 stars on Spotify, 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. Would you kindly? It would be very appreciated. But yeah, I mean, regardless whether or not you do that, it's cool. I appreciate you hanging out with me. I appreciate letting me hang out with you in this audio space way. I think that's pretty rad. So yeah. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.